Hello, everybody. Thanks for sticking around. As a beer lover, I know I'm keeping you from reaching the beer, so I'll try to keep this short and sweet. But first, about Pete. Fun fact about me, I used to live in San Francisco during the iPhone boom, and I was at an SF New Tech event where a fellow by the name of Jeff Lawson demoed a new startup in 2009. Some of you in the room may have heard of it. At the time, he had a bunch of hair. I still have some hair, so let's see what happens in 12 years or so. Something else, fun fact about me, is I was the first product manager of voice at MessageBird. So MessageBird started as an SMS company, but then we expanded into voice, and that's where I was brought onto the team, because I knew Twilio quite well at that point. And then after some time at MessageBird, I shifted over to Telnyx, which is a US-based CPaaS, and I helped spin up the office here in Amsterdam. We're over on the Keizersgracht, so if you ever want to come over for lunch, let me know. So some of you probably don't know Telnyx as well as some of the folks on the logo map over there. This is from G2, kind of a review site where users and customers of companies review their suppliers. You'll see Telnyx in the top right, and we've been there for quite some time. I'm very proud about that. But what's also different about Telnyx compared to a lot of folks on here is that we started as a voice and number provider. For example, Infobip Cinch also started in the SMS space. And I think that's going to be important when you see the demo I'm about to present. Because a lot of these other vendors on there, they aren't built for voice AI like Telnyx is. So we have the telephony, we have programmable voice, we have messaging, we have an AI engine, we have a network that we've built from the beginning 10 years ago. So it's really designed to deliver high-definition voice. And what is also unique is we have our own cloud storage product and GPUs around the world to really deliver the power to deliver voice AI. Since I've been in the space for a little while, sorry, I'm going to use some water. I've seen this evolution of CPaaS in person. I saw it in the guide yesterday, and I thought it was very well articulated. I think the way I think of it is around self-service. So when Jeff got on stage at SF New Tech, it was all about programming languages. He did this really cool demo. He pulled up his terminal, and he was coding things to make a phone call appear on somebody's phone. I was very impressed by that, but I'm not a developer, so there's no way I could have interacted with Twilio at the time. Then we kind of moved on to the no-code, low-code node properties. I remember I was in the MessageBird office, a small garage in the south of Amsterdam, and I saw this small competitor called Highside Telecom, and they built this very basic kind of automation platform that connected his SMS and voice. And I said, Robert, who was the CEO at the time and still the CEO, Robert Fiss, I said, Robert, this is really cool. Like, I can build something with this. And sure enough, we ended up acquiring Highside, and that turned into our Flow Builder product, which launched at around the same time as Twilio Studio. So kind of saw that coming, but what I'm seeing next, and what I'm excited about at Telnyx, is that the next iteration is going to be natural language. We're not going to interact with CPaaS with code, maybe a little bit of no-code, low-code, but it's really going to be speaking English to CPaaS. I think that's really exciting, especially for product managers or people who can't code like myself. So today, I wanted to show you what we're doing. It's still early days, but I'm pretty excited about it. Let's see if it works properly. It's a voice AI demo. So this was built by one of our product marketing managers. She's not technical, but she's able to use tools like N8N, Superbase to create a working voice AI bot. So no developers were involved in the creation of this demo. So let's give it a try. We've used a third-party provider for this called Acuity. Okay, demo gods. It was working earlier. Here I am. So this has got my phone number in it. Confirm appointment. So this is using all Telnyx in the back end, just Acuity to make the appointment through the UI. She had set it to 30 seconds before it triggered a call. That's useful for kind of talking about the solution. Let's see if it comes here. OK, we got a call.
Hello, Pete. I'm calling from Health Hub to confirm your appointment on September 25th at 7 a.m. Does this work for you?
No, I need to rebook.
I'm sorry. Could you please clarify what you mean by I need the repo? Are you saying you need a repository, or perhaps you meant to say you need to reschedule or cancel your appointment?
Yeah, you're right. It was the second one.
Your appointment has been canceled. Thank you for letting us know, Pete. Have a nice day.
If you don't succeed, should we try it again?
I'm sorry, but I'm not sure what you mean by I need to speak by again.
So like I said, it's still early days. I think one of the challenges you're seeing in voice AI is the transcription, right? So if I mumble a little bit, if I'm nervous, if I don't speak the native language, sometimes the transcription engines struggle a bit with it, and I think it's only going to get better. Forgive me if I'm not the first person to say it's only going to get better than it is today, or it's not going to get worse than it is today. So I think that's encouraging. But what's really happening here in the back end, like I said, is all about English. So what we've done is we've basically told an agent, this is what I want you to do for this basic appointment scheduling flow. So you can use different models. Again, this is the Telnyx dashboard. So this is all built on top of APIs, on top of our voice, on top of our SMS, on top of our numbers, all in one, so you don't have to go to another provider. But what you can do, say you have an OpenAI account, you like it, you can use that model. You can use Grok if you like Grok. You can use Google. So it's really up to you to find the model that works best for your use case. You can add variables, so it's going to be smart. If it recognizes my phone number, it can say, hey, Pete, thanks for calling in, things like that. It's all connected via webhooks or MCP servers, which is kind of the latest and greatest. So you can connect to Zapier, and you can unlock all sorts of different tools. So that's all there. With voice, we have our own natural sounding voices that we use for this, but you can also bring in voices from other providers like AWS or Azure or ElevenLabs. So it's up to you. We're not trying to be the best for everything. We understand that some providers like ElevenLabs have done a really nice job with voices. So if that's what you want to do, bring it on in. So what we were using today was DeepGram, but you can also use Azure, you can use Google. It's really up to you. Because we're in the EU, we don't really allow Gather, or we don't allow Google yet, but it's coming. Other things you can add, knowledge bases. So your system can be very intelligent, pull information about your company, and so forth. You can do things like insights. So you can do sentiment analysis, summary, directly from the portal. You don't have to use a third-party vendor for that. All built into it. Again, the nice thing about building this with Telnyx, our calling is really built right into it. You don't need to do a SIP trunk outside of us. That's a VAP you might have to do. Same thing with messaging. You can connect to our SMS APIs directly through the assistant. No coding needed. So you have a website. You're a health club. You want to put a chat on there where people can call you instead of intercom where you're chatting. You can now put a voice bot on there, and it will call. It'll just show up, and you can call directly via the website. So that's coming. Conversation history. You can go back in and see how are people interacting with your voice bot. You can make changes. Oh, they didn't really understand that word. Let's make sure we know what that is in our dictionary. Oh, they're pronouncing that wrong. Let's make sure we pronounce it correctly. So that all can be kind of trained into the agent. Again, all through kind of the voice prompt. It's not about APIs, it's about language. You can do this in Dutch too, but for the audience, we did it in English. So that, at a high level, is what we're building with voice assistants. You can still build really complex things with APIs. That's not going anywhere. We have a low-code builder. You can do that as well. But really, we think the future is with language. One last interesting thing. So I'm an account executive. I was on this call with this gentleman the other day. He's like, yeah, I'm ramping up. I need this amount of numbers, this amount of minutes. I'm like, OK, can I see your product? And he showed me a product that he built on lovable.dev. So just through vibe coding, I'm now talking to customers who are building bigger solutions than a legacy solution provider in Ireland who sells SIP trunks. So I think the future for self-serve is really this long tail. The Ubers of the world can use programmable APIs all day long, but how we get to that next level to unlock that revenue that we talked about yesterday, I really think is through the long tail of enabling anybody to build internal apps, external apps, iPhone apps, all through native language. I think I want to end with this. It's not really our slogan, but I think people in the room might appreciate that. I think we're going to move from ask your developer to ask your assistant. Thank you very much.
All right, so well done. We know all about the demo gods. Everyone in this room has just had that experience before. And between the Wi-Fi, using a mic,
Yeah.
that was a high bar, so no worries. So let's turn some time over to the judges. Andrew, why don't you lead off with a question here?
Thank you very much. And I'm sure that we've felt that moment of deep hatred that you shared. We shared that moment of deep hatred for AI in that moment where it cancelled you. Well done on the presentation. What do you see as who do you see as your competitors, and how are you going to differentiate this offering from other offerings in the marketplace?
Well, I mean, Twilio will always be out there. I think, we're moving away from being an SMS company. I think we're really focused on the voice. So obviously other CPaaS vendors who are here are still competitors. We can offer those services. But lately, most of my sales call conversations are around people using VAPI or 11 Labs who aren't happy with the call quality. So the voice AI assistants don't work unless you have that low latency, and that's why they're coming to us.
And you said it could be for anyone, but the history of product development is littered with the casualties of things that work for everyone and end up working for no one. Where do you think you're going to start? Where would you pitch it to? Is it mid-market, small market? Which kind of areas? And what's your route to market for that?
I think we have had some conversations with enterprise. They're a little bit more risk-averse. I think in talking about the hallucinations, things like that, I do think it's going to be more internal tools to start, that you can send SMS or voice calls and gather information. And then I think it'll be SMB, mid-market, folks like Acuity Scheduling who want to build it natively into their solution. But that's kind of how I see it evolving.
So just to summarize, you see yourselves using this a bit more internally before you start going externally. Is that what you said? Sorry,
I think everybody will. I think most AI will start internally. We have a Slack channel called What I Built with AI.
So what was the technical hiccup? Why didn't your demo work this time?
Because the transcription engine misunderstood me because I was getting nervous and it was a bit mumbly. So it didn't hear me say, I want to rebook. Yeah. It heard it said something totally different.
Well, but didn't she say, oh, do you want to repo or do you want to rebook this appointment?
Yeah.
And then you said, it's the second one. And then she said, your appointment is canceled. So is that she misunderstood you on the second?
So what happened is, and this is really what should have also been in there, it's a matter of prompt engineering. So if you looked at the prompt, it was maybe 10, 12 sentences, 12 paragraphs. Yeah. But when you're seeing these enterprise ones, you have a prompt that goes pages and pages long. So then you can really put in those edge cases and really refine it.
Okay. So it's not that it was like the connectivity was poor. It's more that it's just like the.
So the first one was the transcription engine. The second one was because we didn't have enough prompts in there to handle what I'd said to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
So look, I think well done for being so brave as to put that up. I think we've all been there, right? Where you think it's going to work. So I think congrats on that. I just had, I guess, a couple of quick questions. So I think fundamentally, kind of go-to-market is key.
Yeah.
How do you get this? Yeah, I mean, you talked about starting internally, but I'm interested in how do you monetize it, right? So how do you get this in the hands of the masses to a point in scale so that you're able to really hit those growth projections?
Well, I mean, our business model is pay-as-you-go, like most of CPaaS, so it's pay-per-minute usage of the service. So I think the more people use it or interact with it, have success with it. If you call up to a restaurant and you're able to successfully book a reservation, I think other restaurants are going to try this too because they eat at other restaurants. Like, oh, I want that. Who's building that?
Yeah, I guess, I get the going to a restaurant, but how do you hit mass scale? How do you get 50,000 restaurants with one go-to-market? Because I think you can see in the individual small, and hitting small businesses is challenging, right? Because they're regional, they're local, whatever it is.
Yeah.
How do you solve that problem?
So that's what we're spinning up a channel partner team for. A lot of the MSPs who have been selling SIP trunking are like, what can I add? This is a very logical thing to add. You don't have to be technical. You don't have to program. You can spin up a demo for a customer in 30 minutes and then refine it after they say, yes, I want this.
Great. And one last question. So I think we talked a lot about misuse, fraud, etc.
Yes.
This is a fantastic tool in the hands of a business, but it's equally dangerous in the hands of a fraudster. How do you put guardrails around that happening?
Well, as Telnyx, we've been doing this for a while, so we have all sorts of alerts for high calls per second. So all of a sudden there's a spike, things like that. We have that already built into it. So somebody like a Vapi, maybe not, 11 Labs. So we've been doing this for over a decade, so it's built into the platform.
Excellent. Great questions.
Yes, thanks.
Better answers.
Thank
Thank you for being our first guinea pig. All right, thanks, Pete. All right.